Disasters such as floods have the potential to be catastrophic and lead to massive alterations in the lives of those affected. The Resilient Africa Network (RAN) is a USAID-funded program bringing together a network of 20 African universities in 16 countries united in pursuit of the vision of building resilient African communities through innovative solutions. Under the RAN, a deliberative poll to gauge citizens' voices on alternative policies for responding to the vulnerability to flooding in two communities, Nsanje and Ndamera in Nsanje district, southern Malawi, was undertaken.
So in relation to the deliberative polling, as you know, this is a collaborative work with Stanford University, and as a university that prides itself for being research intensive and improving its international outlook as an impact to the world, not just to the academic community. The collaboration with Stanford has brought new methodology and tool like the deliberative polling. Before then, we all know either we do a qualitative focus group discussion, or we do a survey with a random sample of people and ask about a couple of questions. But the deliberative polling now brings the two together. And in the course of doing the work we do in resilience, it became obvious, in particular this community in Malawi, that there's complexity in terms of people's voices. Now, the way I see DP is that it provides an opportunity to hear people's voices. So one thing that struck me from the dissemination was when I heard back what the community was saying when they heard the results. One particular response that thanking the team for actually coming here, that since that deliberation that happened, it brought about unity between the two communities. It seems like there was some kind of distrust. And for me, if that's all we did, it's quite phenomenal, because we know in Africa there's a lot of, most of the problems of war and conflict, it comes from this kind of social capital that gets lost from misunderstanding and suspecting each other. And oftentimes, it starts small like this, but the next thing you see is a big war. So deliberative polling is indeed something that we need more in Africa, not just in Malawi. And I'm hoping that going forward, we can actually teach our students and more academics to engage communities using this tool.
Nsanje is affected by frequent flooding. The community is surrounded by the Shira River to the east and Ndindi Marsh to the west. When the Shira River floods, it takes its water to the Ndindi Marsh, and the Nyachikaza community gets seriously affected. When it floods, the lowland community seeks refuge in the upland Ndamera area. Following the floods of 1997, the government of Malawi declared Nsanje a flood-prone area and prohibited any individual from staying in the area. The community has been refusing to relocate because land is fertile and the inability of government to provide suitable land for relocation. Up to now, there is a standoff between the government and the community on relocation. The deliberative polling approach is a citizen-based data generation method that seeks to contribute to the process of developing interventions that respond to the felt needs of the people. Deliberative polling, DP, is an attempt to reframe public opinion research in a new and constructive way. The DP concept is based on the principle that when people have accurate and comprehensive information, they reach informed decisions and make qualitative contribution to policy and programs.
As RAN, we are happy to see that the DP which we did in Malawi, today we are disseminating the results to the stakeholders and to the communities. This is very important to us because, like somebody said, many a times people do research, but they rarely go back to the communities to disseminate the results of the studies that they do. This is very important. In addition to that, we are hoping that the results of this deliberative polling is going to be taken up by the policymakers to improve the communities, to improve their resilience, but also to be used for other programming purposes.
This was a very unique opportunity to have two communities that are facing recurrent flooding and other climate stresses, to come together and have a dialogue with one another about the way forward. And today I was struck by a comment from one of the participants that said, now TA Nchikadza and TA Namera are a united force, and they're going to work together for a common goal. It's incredibly striking every time I witness one of these deliberative polls to see the reaction of the participants, and I am very grateful to the Resilient Africa Network for making it possible here in Malawi. We are honored to have been a part of this process. I think there's a lot of rich data available to the policymakers on issues relating to health, livelihoods, food security, and most importantly to these disasters and responding to the recurrent flooding and resettlement programs. They should take some time to study the results that we have presented here to the community, but I think it's also an opportunity for them to engage in a dialogue with the community about these results. So it provides, the DP provides a unique platform to allow those kinds of conversations to be happening.
Deliberative polling provides unique opportunity to objectively engage an informed community on interventions for strengthening resilience to livelihood in rural Malawi. The DP also seemed to have increased the community members' perception that public officials care and that government may act on their opinion. In general, the deliberation seemed to have provided increased support for temporary relocation during flood rather than permanent resettlement, and a strong call for a more effective early warning system. There was also a very strong support for interventions to reduce population pressures, particularly law to prohibit underage marriages and support for family planning services.
Mavuto ibene mbuyomo inali yaikulu koma pano pandimene mwapangira kafukufuku kwani kuti lithandiza kwambiri anasazi kwati dwale ang'ono maso kusokera kuti mwina mabungu ena abwerepo atengepo mbali kuti aphunzitse anthu bwinobwino kuti anthu samakwatide ana ali ang'ono.
Kafukufuku ameneyi tingane kuti ndi yankho la pempho limene ife timakhala nalo akuoneka ngati chiyambireni mavuto atangotipeza pangano kafika tsiku la lero sikunabwere gulu ngati limene kuzatipanga kafukufuku. Andi kafukufuku atithandiza kuopsa chifukwa ikhala ngati ndi njira kapena ali ngati atumwi amene angati ukati yankhulira kuboma chifukwa mbuyo mu mavuto atakoma titapezana nawo komanso mavuto atatikhuza tinapanga advocacy kuti mwina boma atapanga kuti ndi disaster prone area atapanga declare ife tinazikana kuti ayi kwatuko sungakhale disaster prone area pakuti kumene kuja zituko zikuyenera kukhalako koma vuto njonena kuti boma anangopanga declare ndi tinapanga advocacy napanga advocate kana kumapita kwa TC kuti ufore makata ali kumene kuja koma mwatoka tikuti zinaoneka ngati talephera koma ndikafukufuku uyu atithandiza kwambiri chifukwa pakhala ngati zikafikira ma decision makers amene akuyena kupanga chiganizo chimene chinapanga poyamba paja chibwerenso kuti kwenye chikadzokhala chitukuko.
Government should not prohibit provision of any social service, hospitals, schools, etc. in TA Nyachikadza as a way of forcing people to relocate. Government should allow TA Nyachikadza communities to access land upland to temporarily relocate during floods and return afterwards. Government should promote increased use of temporary shelters for evacuation instead of classrooms. Government should provide wide access to free family planning services. Community bylaws should be used to restrict child marriages. A woman should not lose the family land if her husband dies.
This activity is very important for us as researchers, but for also the universities that are part of the run, because I think it's one of the few research studies where we've really done a lot of community engagement, and so just coming back and presenting the results of the findings to the community members is very important, and it's always good research practice. And the community members were very happy that we were able to engage with them, and also it demonstrated that we were not only here just to get information from them, but we were really interested to work with them to find innovative solutions to their problem. So we are very hopeful that the results that we've obtained through this study are going to influence the much needed advocacy to ensure that there's change in the community, and that the communities in the community in Nyachikadza will be able for the first time to start accessing social services that will be provided by government, which has been under prohibition since 1997. This study has really demonstrated that deliberative polling can produce excellent results if the communities are part of the, solution. So much time we bring solutions to the communities without community engagement and involvement in terms of their prioritization. But for the deliberative polling, it has really demonstrated for the communities, they know the solutions to their problems, and it is always important as the policymakers to ensure that they are listening to communities' voices when they are doing this kind of activity.